In our addiction, we are so lonely and we feel so dark and feel like we're never going to be able to get out of it. And the minute I smoked heroin and meth, I'm like, I have arrived. This is what the feeling I've been looking for. Like, this is so amazing. And before you know it, I was kicking in doors, burglarizing homes, shoplifting, doing so many horrible, horrible behaviors to support this addiction that I now had. It was my first time I actually went to jail. First time in jail ever was King County, and I'm like...
Welcome to Intrepid Storytelling, where the brave, the courageous, the dauntless, and the resolutely fearless share their journeys of hope, grit, and transformation. These are the voices of the valiant, those who dare to rise, to dream, and to tell their truth out loud. Because every story has the power to inspire, and yours just might change the world. I'm your host, Deanna Powell. I want to welcome Tracie Dalke today. She is an amazing friend, colleague of mine in the real estate industry, but probably the most important way to introduce you is somebody who has seriously inspired me over the years that I've known you. And your authenticity and your raw vulnerability of telling your story throughout everything you do in your daily life has just really inspired me. So I want to welcome Tracie. Tracie is one of the top agents at Coldwell Banker Bain in Kirkland, Washington. And people do listen to this podcast all over the world. So there's going to be hopefully a lot of eyeballs and ears who get to hear your story that will be inspired just like I am. But Tracie, thanks for telling your story today. Why do you want to tell your story?
Thanks for the lovely introduction. And as you were introducing me, now my heart is pounding, but that's okay. So why I want to tell my story, to provide hope to those that feel hopeless. You know, in our addiction, we are so lonely and we feel so dark and feel like we're never going to be able to get out of it. And that's not true. We can do hard things and we can get out of it. And, you know, I'm just here to share, what I thought was my biggest weakness is turned out to be my biggest strength. So I just want others to know that we can recover and we don't have to live in the depths of darkness forever.
Right. And we don't have to live in the shame of an untold story either, which is so cool. Isn't it the greatest?
I share this often. The more raw and authentic and messy you are, I'm in love, because tell me all the dirt. Tell me all the horrible things that you have done. Tell me all of the reasons that you shame yourself, and let's work through that. I love that.
Yeah. I mean, Brené Brown says it like this: you cannot be fully loved until you are fully known. And if you keep some of those parts of yourself that maybe you're ashamed of or you're embarrassed to talk about, or just maybe you had never even thought about telling somebody else because you had buried it so deep, once that comes out and people can show you a full and true acceptance and love and embrace for you, who you are, it is not just, it's a feeling of euphoria to know that there are people who are like, people do respect me. Oh, people do love me. I can't believe it.
My worth is separate from my behaviors. That doesn't define me, you know? Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And the more we tell our story, you never know who you can help. If I can just help one person today, I'm doing something right. One person, with telling them you don't have to live that way.
Well, and this is the cool thing. So this has happened to me a couple times, but I remember when I was going through my very early years in recovery, the people who were helping me, I was just so I can't believe you're helping me. Thank you so much. You have no idea what it means to me. And their response to me was, one day you're going to do this for somebody else. And this is why I do it. And I've always remembered that. And so now when I help somebody else, I always tell them, one day you're going to be able to help somebody like I'm helping you. And it's going to be for that reason.
Yeah. And it's unconditional. When we get to help others, it's unconditional. Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. And that's something that I've learned in this recovery process, because I'll tell you what, in my addiction, it was conditional. It absolutely was. What can I get from you? How can you, fill in the blank, but what can I do to manipulate you to get what I want? It's a lot different today.
Well, and then, the people in our lives too had to be conditional with us.
Right.
Like we're not going to take you in unless you're this, that, and you check all the boxes. And so it's like, yeah, very transactional and not really fully open and, fully ready to. Yeah. So, okay. I get to know certain things about you that I've never known before. So what was it like growing up? Were you born and raised in Washington?
Yes. Oh, excuse me. Born at Stevens Hospital in Edmonds. Lived in Linwood for a little while, and then my roots really were Mukilteo. Moved to Mukilteo when I think I was 6 or so. So yeah, I grew up in Mukilteo and graduated high school from Kamiak High School. Class of 97, we were the first class to go all the way through. Freshman to senior, it was a brand new school. And I remember when I walked in the doors and it had like carpeted hallways and then like the sinks were automatic. And I'm like, this is not high school. They're supposed to have graffiti and it's supposed to be like, where are all the messy lockers and stuff? But yeah, Mukilteo is where I was born and raised, lifelong resident.
Awesome. That's so cool. There was a lot of development going on, just speaking real estate wise, like Harbor Point, all that.
Yeah. Yeah. When we first moved to Mukilteo, Harbor Point was all woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there was a few, I mean, maybe I'm not being honest. Maybe there was a few neighborhoods, but from what I remember when I was 7, which is not a lot. Yeah, there was a lot of woods and now it's just like, I mean, like everywhere around here.
Sure.
Snohomish, East King County.
Well, before Newcastle was Newcastle, it was all woods too. It was Cougar Mountain. Yeah, that's where I started my drinking. We would go up where the golf course is now, Newcastle Golf Course. Before the golf course was up there, it was all just they were clearing everything up there.
Okay.
And so we would sneak up there, or we would go down and sit on the bridge over the river and drink boons. And
oh yeah, I remember boons. Oh gosh.
I graduated in 94.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we're in the same era. Mad Dog 2020, boons, all that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, disgusting. We were smoking Virginia Slims.
Oh, absolutely. Because we were so fancy.
Oh yeah, we were cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, okay. So what were some of the friendships and relationships that you had growing up that sort of made an impact on your life? Do you have anybody in your life that you kind of look back and go, oh, that was a significant relationship and it taught me something?
I can sit here and tell you honestly that the friends that I had in elementary school, there's a core group of us and we're 47 and we're still really, they're my best friends. They're my girls. I think and that's a positive impact. But again, those were all my girls that we did all the things. My high school days and stuff were fairly normal. I was really involved in athletics, I played softball, volleyball, basketball, did varsity sports, was a good student. And, when we were high schoolers and we would drink on the weekends when the parents were gone, smoke a little pot, maybe sometimes take some acid. I don't know. But that's what we were
doing acid in high school? Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But my addiction didn't start until later on. The behaviors were always there. Okay, let's be real. Like I never drank one drink. Like, why would I do that? Like if I drink, I'm getting wasted, and so that alcoholic thinking was right there. But
I can relate. That's how I drank too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not to say that
all the signs were there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's right in there. Not to say that there weren't other kids in my high school that weren't doing drugs. I was very naive, thinking that since I'm not doing these things, other people must know me. I didn't know anything because I was very sheltered. Yeah. So I knew nothing about the world until I got into the world. But I did have a best friend who her boyfriend was doing acid. And this was after, right after we had was it before we graduated? It was right around that time, probably 17 years old, 18. And they called it crystal.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was meth. So it was meth.
But we called it crystal back then. Oh,
crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were doing crystal. And I didn't know, but they were staying up all night. And I was like, okay, well, and I like the biggest thing I did was mushrooms, I think.
Okay.
And it crap out of me. I hated pot. I hated mushrooms. I hated because I hated that experience. My whole thing was drinking. I loved to drink. But I remember that my mom had asked my friend, she was like, you got to keep your eye on Deanna. And so she took that very literally. And if they were all doing drugs, I couldn't. So I could
Okay.
go and sit with them and watch them all do this stuff, but I was not allowed. And I'm like, why?
Oh my gosh.
She's like, Deanna, just
That's
trust me,
funny.
don't do it. And I would listen to her because, you know, she was very protective of me. She still is a little bit.
That sparked the curiosity, like, or, like, oh, I can't do that. Well, you wait. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely that rebellious side.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it was always there, but I don't really have there's nobody that I can think of from my at least my adolescent years or my teenage years to early 20s where it was like they were bad influence or anything. I mean, I made my own choices and we were all in it together and we were just doing what high schoolers do, I thought. But there came a point where they all stopped and I kept going and kept going even harder and yeah.
Okay. So when would you say that was?
So I actually didn't. So like I said, all the signs were there. I mean, I wanted to drink to get drunk and to not feel my feelings. I didn't start, my addiction started when I was 27. So I was a late bloomer. So like I said, the signs were there, but life circumstances happened when I was 27. I had a failed marriage and some childhood traumas were brought up. And I won't go into great details with that, but my life absolutely changed. And I lost my husband and I had to be away from my mom. And I had this child that I was trying to raise too, because I had got married or had a child at 19, or excuse me, 23. Oh my gosh, 23, and then got married at 25. And then at 27 is when all this stuff, these life-changing circumstances unfolded.
That's so interesting. And you think at that age and you're still very 20s, you know, you think everything's forever. And that divorce did it have a really hard effect on you?
The divorce, is that what you said?
Yeah. Or what was it that kind of went, my life has changed
It was
forever?
a combination of things. And first and foremost, let me be clear that my ex-husband and I are now the bestest of friends, and we have raised this successful child together, and he's amazing. So let me say that. But it didn't work out for us when we were younger. And then we both actually ended up getting into addiction or whatnot. But what it was, when these traumatic events of my life unfolded, and it wasn't actually even the divorce, it was the childhood trauma that I had revealed to my family that I'd been keeping. I'd been holding it in since I was 7 years old. So I had a secret. I didn't let my family know till I was 27. And at the same time, my marriage was failing. And I'm not going into great detail because those family relationships have since been repaired.
Yeah.
And I've since moved on and forgiven and I have peace in my life. So that's why I'm censoring it. Typically in the rooms of AA, I'm very open about it, but because of just circumstances, I'm just trying to be respectful of all parties.
Yeah, that's fair.
With that being said, my world was absolutely flipped upside down. And like I mentioned, I had this child that I needed to take care of. I had lost actually my best friend, my husband, and my mom all at the same time, not to death, but to circumstances. And so I had somebody introduce me to, here, just take this. This will make you feel better. Here's a pill that will make you feel better. And I'm like, ooh, thank God, I need something because I'm hurting right now. And that pill was an Oxycontin. And so I'm 27 and I have a child. I have nowhere to go. I had to, sleep on a friend's couch for a little bit. And at this time I was, starting to take Oxycontin. And it just started with a little bit. Just take a little piece of this pill and you'll be okay. And you'll be able to get through these hard days and everything's going to work out. And boy, everything did not work out. The story unfolds and it really turned into quickly a life of crime and destruction and jails and institutions. And, I should be in prison the rest of my life, actually, for the behaviors that came along with starting with Oxycontin, then turned into, let's see, what did we do? Oxycontin, then went into methadone, and then, any opiate possible. It got to a point where I couldn't afford those opiates anymore. And someone introduced me to heroin. Well, this is cheaper. This will get the job done. And at the same time, I was also introduced to meth. So I did meth and heroin for the first time together, smoked them. I was not an IV user, thank God. Something my God was like, if you do heroin intravenously, you absolutely will die because I'm all or nothing. Like, I'm not going to do these drugs and do it lightly. Like, I'm going to go hard. So I did smoke heroin and meth. And the minute I smoked heroin and meth, I'm like, I have arrived. This is what the feeling I've been looking for. Like, this is so amazing. And before you know it, I was kicking in doors, burglarizing homes, shoplifting, doing so many horrible, horrible behaviors to support this addiction that I now had.
Did your family know what was going on, or did you keep it from them? Were you able to?
I thought, well, as addicts, we think we're really good at covering up
Oh, yeah.
addiction, but I wasn't fooling anybody. So my addiction lasted about 10 years. I got sober when I was 37. And at first, it was manageable. It actually was manageable. And then the behaviors got worse and worse, and the crimes got worse and worse. And so until I believe, and I could be wrong, my brother and my family could probably correct me on this, but I believe that it wasn't well known until I started going to jail. And it was like, oh, there's a real problem here. Because what I did is I pulled myself away from my family when my addiction started. So, I didn't want them to know what I was doing. And by this time it took a little while, but my son and we ended up moving back in with my mother-in-law. And my ex moved back in with my mother-in-law as well. So at that time, we had someone to help us with Noah. Noah wasn't exposed to the substances, but he was exposed to the behaviors. So my ex and I moved back in with his mother-in-law, not as an intimate couple, but we were now both in addiction, actually. We just became, we would use together, and Grandma Lydia would take care of Noah, and Jeremiah and I got to use how we wanted to use. And one of us was always going to jail. It was just,
for 10 years that was going on.
Yeah, it went on. Yeah. And it's so tiring. It just gets so tiring, but it got bad. Long stints in jail. You and I can relate to that. Mental institutions, Fairfax Hospital a few times, countless rehab centers, and I'd get a little bit I'd go to jail and I'd get a little bit of clean time in jail, and then I'd get out and I'd go right back to what I was doing.
What was the longest you spent in there?
6 months, 5 months. King County. It was King County. Months. I think it was 5 months. It was my first time I actually went to jail was that. And I got, this is the crazy part of my story, is I got a residential burglary. And the police, being in the real estate industry now, I had to jump through some serious hoops to prove where I was at, and we can get to that down the road. But yeah, I would take, first time in jail ever was King County, and I'm like, and I would sit there and look out my cell block window, and I would see the people in the tents under the bridge across Ive, and I'm like, they have a better life than me. They have a better life than me. This is what my life is going to be, where I'm at right now, and I am actually willing to surrender that this is where I belong. This is where I belong. Don't know when I'm going to see my son again. I don't know when I'm going to see any of my loved ones again. But, I probably should just stay here the rest of my life. It was such a dark place. And that was the first time.
Yeah. And that was the first time. Yeah. I
learned my lesson.
I tell my story about the dark. That's a dark, dark time when you're just like, I don't know if I can do this. I can't be here. I don't want it. I wanted to end it for sure.
Absolutely. And if I didn't have my son was my hope. Like, I have to, there was a shift after I was in there for a little while. I got, the substances. I was no longer on the substances and making friends in jail, and you know how it goes. Like, it was just kind of like, okay, well, I'm sober now. And I got out of jail and I was on DOC for a while. I think you've been down that route too, or did you have an ankle bracelet or something, right?
I had an ankle bracelet. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I was put on DOC, and for people that don't know what DOC is, Department of Corrections, I was monitored and had to check in every week, and couldn't leave the county without written permission. And we lived in Bothell at the time, which was Snohomish County. And my son went to school in Woodinville, which was King County. And I'm not supposed to leave the county. So I'm,
Gosh.
I know. Wow. So I'm just like, we're flying under the radar, but I was sober for a while, but I got off DOC and then I celebrated.
Oh,
and that quickly brought me back in, because I'm like, nobody's going to tell me what to do now. So it quickly brought me back to my addiction. I got, 18 more misdemeanors after that.
Dang it.
Yeah. So, it was crazy. It's so crazy to think about now. I look back, I'll have, my sobriety is July 13th, 2016. So I'm like 9.5 years into the sobriety. And I think back now and I'm like, it's like an out of body experience when I think of the things that I was doing. How am I alive?
Yeah. Yeah. I can
Oh,
so relate to that. How am I
wow.
alive? How are the people that when I was drinking and
Yeah.
driving, how did I not hit anybody?
Yeah.
How, I mean, wow, I know it's so true. And just one thing makes you look back and go, oh, thank God I'm sober. But there's
Yeah.
so many other little
So,
things that
yeah.
you look back and you go, thank God I'm sober. I'm not
Mhm.
doing that anymore.
Oh my gosh. And I just, exactly. And I think about it, I'm like, who was that? Because who I am now, like, I'm actually a really good person. And I'm like, I never thought that this was
Oh, not just
possible.
really good. Look, you're
Yeah.
making such an impact on the
Ah,
world. And I just think it's amazing. You're so successful and everything else. You
thank
are
you.
proof that sobriety does happen. Can recover, and sobriety looks good and cool and
And
beautiful and
you, and
successful and
you
everything else.
too. Like, a lot of people don't make it to this side.
I
And
know.
especially today with the
Yeah.
substances. Thank God I got sober before fentanyl because I would absolutely would be dead. And it's really sad what that's doing. And God, there's so many other drugs I don't even know.
Wow. Well, so you're in active addiction. You're in and out of jail. Are you still living with your mother-in-law at that
Yeah.
time then? And so when
Yeah,
was
there
it
was a
that you,
boy. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
There was a boyfriend in there somewhere that is completely irrelevant, quite honestly. The best thing that came from him is that he introduced my son and I to Woodinville. And that's where my son got to go to school and his whole life and whatnot. We were together for a few years. That was the most abusive, horrible relationship, physically abusive, mentally abusive. I was loaded the whole time, the whole relationship I was. But he's a
Math,
really,
you
yeah.
probably were doing drugs because
Mm.
you didn't
Yeah.
like, well, just do
Oh
whatever you
gosh.
want to me because I don't care anymore.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
and it was just horrible. In fact, I remember I don't include him a lot in my story just because he's such a horrible person. And I forgive him because he's sick. He's sick. He's untreated. He's very sick. But the manipulation, I got a large settlement because of things that had happened to me in my childhood. And I got it when I was living with him. And he said, well, because I've supported you and Noah for the last year, I want you to buy me a gate for my home and I want you to transfer $30,000 from your account to my account or I'm going to expose you to everybody.
Oh my
And I
God.
was in my addiction and I had my child and didn't want my child to get taken away. So I did it. I did
Hmm.
what he said. And he's a horrible person for that. But I also had a choice. So that's my
Yeah.
part in it is I did have a choice. I didn't want to be exposed. Thankfully, time went on and I got out of that relationship. And so, yes, so then Noah and I moved from there to back to Lydia's house. And at that time, Jeremiah had a relationship that didn't work out. So he moved back into Lydia's and then that we were off and
Okay.
running because we had conversated, and we were friends at this point again, Jeremiah and I, and it's like we were both doing the same thing. And
Hmm.
now we had someone to help with our son. So like I had mentioned before, like, yeah, so we went
Yeah.
hard. We went really, really hard.
So when was it then that what was the thing that kind of woke you up?
What happened? Yeah, what
Yeah.
happened? Well, Jeremiah had actually had the opportunity to go to treatment. Well, he went to jail. It was Super Bowl weekend. I remember he was furious that he was going to jail Super Bowl weekend. And when he got out, he went to treatment, straight from there to a treatment center at the Salvation Army. And he started to change. And I was still using, and he was changing, and he was getting healthy. And I wanted what he had. And so that started it. And compounded with that, Noah and I came home one day from school or a sporting event of his or whatever. And I was just like, you know what? Things are going to change and I'm going to get healthy and I'm not going to go to jail anymore. And I'm not going to have these behaviors anymore. And my son looked at me and said, Mama, he's 13 at this time. You keep saying that, but nothing's changing.
Yeah.
Those words right there is what saved my life.
Yeah.
And I got to follow the lead of his dad, who went to the Salvation Army first. His life became beautiful. He got some sobriety. When he graduated the Salvation Army, Noah was there and got to see his dad. graduate the Salvation Army. And I wanted that. Jeremiah ended up meeting his wife is now, Miranda. She has turned out to be one of my best friends in the world. And when I was ready to get sober, I went back to when I was ready to get sober. I'm like, okay, I surrender. Reached out to some friends, and I had someone help me get into a detox center. And from the detox center, I went to a treatment center in Spokane called ABHS, and it's a prison-based program. And I knew about that place because I was sent there before through the legal system, but I knew it worked. So I chose to go back to ABHS, and it's a behavior modification treatment center. And I mean, I'm talking, you sit and you have your hands on your lap and you stand with your arms behind your back and you say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and I needed that. And it helps you retrain your criminal mind. Yeah, absolutely. So I went there and I graduated in 60 days, and my son came and, my dad, and they're so proud of me. And I called Jeremiah and I'm like, okay, so I'm graduated. What do I do? Now what? I'm like, I can't go back to where I was. I'll die and I'll use. And he's like, why don't you go to the Salvation Army? Miranda and I'll take care of Noah. I'm in a good place, and take all the time you need and go to the Salvation Army. And I went from ABHS. My friend Woody put me up in Oxford House for a few days, a clean and sober house, until I could get into the Salvation Army. And then I went from the Salvation Army or Oxford House to Salvation Army. So I had 62 days clean when I went to the Salvation Army.
Wow.
And I was ready.
I had 90 days sober from being in jail for 90 days.
Oh, yeah?
And then I went to inpatient treatment at Thunderbird Treatment Center in South Seattle. It's off of Rainier Avenue. Yeah. And I spent 30 days there. So really, when I got back out into the real world, I was a full, what is that? 120 days sober.
Which is huge.
Forced sobriety, which is the only way I would have done it, because absolutely, if I had only been in there 2 weeks or even a month, that would have been long enough.
Right. And so the Salvation Army is a 6-month program.
Oh, yeah.
And in all the other times I went to treatment before, it was, like the 30 days or whatever. I mean, I would always leave early, call my dad and cry and manipulate him to come pick me up. Like, this isn't the right place for me. And but yeah, it's a 6-month program. And they tell you, if you complete this 6-month program, we can help you get a job. We can help you find a place to live, and we will forever be in your life. And they did exactly that for me. I completed the program. So Noah got to watch his mom and his dad graduate from Salvation Army. And they have a pinning ceremony where you come up and put a pin on when you graduate. So Noah got to do that for us both. And then they gave me a job. They gave me a job at their Bellevue Community Center. And I was working with people in the community that needed food assistance and housing assistance. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like, I get to give back and do this. And
the giving back part for me is what keeps me sober.
Oh gosh. I never realized. I mean, and they say that in the rooms of AA, they say helping others, helping others, helping others, helping others. Like that's what's going to keep you sober. And absolutely. Yeah. Going to the meetings. Don't use and drink.
Yeah. Don't use and drink. Go to a meeting every day and don't drink in between. Yeah. Okay. That might work for some people, but for me, the real place where it goes, where I get that aha moment every single time that no, I'm never going back. I'm never going back, is when I volunteer. It doesn't matter where. Just volunteer somewhere where you see where you could be if you kept drinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And to be able to help others when we've walked in those shoes.
Yeah.
And like we're doing now, showing them that there's another side is amazing. And so they got me a job, and I did that for a little while and saved up a little money. And then I moved into an Oxford house, and that Oxford house, living in a clean and sober house. So, all the other 800 times I tried to get sober, like I always was like, everyone's like, get a sponsor, move to Oxford. And I would always be like, I don't need an Oxford house. It's fine. My computer's doing something. Sorry. I don't need an Oxford house. But this time I was willing to do everything and anything that people suggested.
Buying or selling real estate isn't just a transaction, it's personal. And that's why I like to treat my clients like their family. I'm Deanna Powell with the Intrepid Home Team at Realty One Group, Orca Gold in Bellevue, Washington. With over 25 years of experience in negotiations, mortgage, title, and escrow, I deliver a true VIP client experience on every transaction, whether it's residential, luxury homes, or land. I listen first, negotiate fiercely, and protect your best interest every step of the way. With offices and partners in all 50 U.S. states, plus 30 different countries and territories around the world, you can be confident that your real estate needs will be met in every and any area you make your move. If you want expertise, integrity, and results, call me today, Deanna Powell, with the Intrepid Home Team, because every move deserves VIP treatment. I can be reached on my mobile phone 425-777-6998 or email me at team@intrepidhometeam.com. Or you can visit my website www.intrepidhometeam.com. That's spelled INTREPIDHOMETEAM.com. Can I ask you something? If we go back to that moment where you were like, okay, I'm ready. And was it just the process of seeing Jeremiah get sober and then the comment from your son? What was that feeling like where you're like, I surrender, I'm done, I'm never doing this again, and I'll do whatever they tell me what to do, I'll do it.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that feeling. I remember that feeling is exactly when Noah said those words to me.
Okay.
And I remember the look on his face, and I remember how my heart just felt absolutely broken. Like, this is my son basically calling me out and, in a sense, pleading to me, like, Mom, enough is enough. I felt so, how could I do this to my son? And I couldn't get sober for him before. I just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of watching his dad get sober.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to see if there was anything significant that if somebody is out there going, well, I've tried over and over, I keep trying, and I just can't stay sober. If there was one thing that they can look for that they go, okay, when I see that or I recognize that in myself, that's the sign. Or,
well, everybody's bottom's different.
Yeah.
Everybody's bottom's different. And it's hard to point that out. I mean, jails and institutions wasn't enough for me, people, I mean, it's just, quite honestly, I'm extremely spiritual, and I feel that it was, my God, my own personal God telling me, like, enough is enough. Yeah. Like, it just was a feel. It was just a feeling like you cannot go on like this anymore.
Yeah. For me, it was my dad, and we had a plate of glass. He came to visit me in jail. And he sat on the other side with the phone, and he's like, are you done drinking yet? And he said that he'd asked me that before, but like that time, and I'm sitting with the glass and I'm like, this is hell.
I've heard it different.
Yeah. And then I said yes. Before, I had never said yes. I was like, I don't, I don't have a drinking problem. I can, and so I'm like, yes, just get me out of here, and I'll do whatever I have to do to never come back to this place ever again,
Right.
But the hardest part is then you say, okay, I'll do whatever I can. But then you go, well, what is that? Do whatever I can. What does that life look like? I've never lived without alcohol. I've never made a decision. I've never gone to a wedding and not had champagne. Right. I've never been to a barbecue and not drank beer. I've never been to a Seahawks game and not gotten drunk at the game. You know what I mean? Like, all these things that I was like regularly doing, and I still did as a part of like my job and stuff. And so I'm like, how do I do this without drinking? And I think that part for a lot of people also is kind of scary, is like, what does life look like sober, and can I do it? And the fear of the unknown. Did you have that, the fear of the unknown, that kept you like, well, this is familiar to me, so I'm just going to go back and do it? But then you're like, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
Absolutely. Well, they tell you the only thing you have to change is everything.
Oh, the opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Completely opposite. And as a, 37-year-old woman, I'm like starting my life over, and trying to figure it out. And so it was absolutely scary. You're right. I'm never going to be able to do any sporting event. I'm never going to have fun because the only way I can have fun is if I drink alcohol and do drugs, period.
Yeah.
And boy, was that such a lie that I told myself and that society told me. And that was a learned behavior, a learned thought. Because the way my life is now, I do not touch any mind-altering substances whatsoever for 9.5 years. And my life is more beautiful now than ever.
You know, one of those feelings that I got as I started realizing I'm having fun and I don't have any alcohol. I'm like, and actually I'm remembering everything.
And like laughing. You can laugh in sobriety harder than ever.
I'm remembering everything. I'm experiencing all of the cool feelings, which sometimes are not always the most fun feelings, but at least all of the feelings are being felt now instead of just like muted or foggy. Or anything. Like I could smell the flowers and I could, smell when the rain was coming. And, these little things that you are like, I never experienced life like this.
Like the veil was lifted.
Yes.
The veil was lifted. Absolutely. And it's hard it's hard when someone's struggling, and you and I both know this. It's hard for us to sit here and say, well, you can do it. Just do this, and this. Yeah. And that looks like, such a large mountain to climb, because if you're anything like me, it's like, well, I want to do this, and this like right now, and I want it to be fixed, and I don't want to do the work. Well, that's not how it goes, and it's so scary and it's so terrifying, but it's so rewarding. I mean,
well, and with every little step. So like my whole thing was do the next right thing. When you're not sure what to do next because it's the unknown. Just do when you have to make one or the other, do the one that's right, the right thing. And then just keep doing the next right thing. And then just these little baby steps. And every time I would do something and accomplish something that even if it was a baby step, it was the right thing, it built my self-confidence and my self-worth and my own self-respect, because I did not have any of that. And
none at all. They taught us in treatment, we had to make our bed a certain way. And it's like, if you didn't make your bed when you woke up by 6 a.m., then you got a pink slip. And at first we're like, God, this is so stupid, but it's so important. Now, do I make my bed every day now? Maybe not. The fact of the matter is that it's one thing that you accomplish for the day, and it sets the tone for the rest of the day. Yeah. And just the structure, because when we're first getting sober, we have to take baby steps. We can't get fire hosed with everything. And, it's just like bite-sized pieces every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's okay if all you do today is breathe and just drink water, because sometimes it does feel overwhelming, and that's okay too.
And not,
but just don't go to the other. Right. Don't go backwards. Just stay where you are. Take a deep breath. Tomorrow's a new day. You didn't drink today. That's a huge thing. Tomorrow we'll take another little baby step. Yeah. This is also
because good. There's times, I couldn't even go 10 minutes without smoking heroin or meth. Like I could not. It was not even possible. And so, being able to, did you see my coworkers?
Yeah. Now they're going to start going like this,
I know. But so to be able to, if somebody once told me, if all you do today, like you said, is breathe and drink water, it wasn't even drink water. It's all you do today is stay sober. It's just whatever you do not use or drink today. That's your only job.
That's your only job.
That's it.
Yep. And then, and if you have to go to a meeting, go to a meeting. If you have to go to 10 meetings, go to 10 meetings.
Yeah.
Just don't drink or use. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Call somebody. Yeah. All the things they tell you in AA. Yeah. Isn't it funny, because there were so many people that would come to me and be like, I don't know if AA works. I think it's a cult.
Yeah, totally. Like, oh yeah, I hear it all the time. Yeah.
Kinda. It is kind of, but not in the way you're thinking of it. It is, it's kind of some people. And if you can't stay sober, and if you're ready to stop and you're willing to be told what to do, when to do it, and you're like, as long as I don't drink anymore, I'll do whatever you tell me to do, then yes, AA is for you, because honestly, they will keep you sober. They're not going to let you go out there,
the evidence is in the rooms. Like you go to the rooms, and So, I mean, I'm a drug addict to my core. Like I am, like it started with alcohol, but drugs, drugs, drugs. But I choose to go to AA because that's where I find my solution is in the program or the recovery rooms of AA. But the evidence is in the rooms. You go in there and you've got people with 30, 40, 50 years of sobriety. And what did they do? They just, they go to meetings and they just don't drink. Now, do I do meetings perfectly? Absolutely not. And do I want to go all the time? No, I don't. But I'm sneaky. And if I'm not in the middle of the herd, then that's a problem. So I have to. I've got my regular meetings that I go to. People are like, oh, you still go to those? I have to. Like I'm fighting for my life every single day. And I am not willing to go back to what it
And
what it was
you
like.
say you have to, and maybe you say it that way, but you want to. You do it because you want to.
Good point.
You know,
Absolutely.
and it's not that you want to go to a meeting. Oh, yay, a meeting.
Yeah, I hate it.
But it's
I don't want to
I
go.
want to stay sober. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to stay sober and I know what works. So I
But
want to go. Yeah.
exactly. And in doing so, and the more you go to the meetings, like new in sobriety is also really lonely because then, like I said, you change everything. So there goes all your friends or whomever, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so lonely. I can't do this. But the fellowship for me in the recovery program, almost everybody in my life today, in my circle, whether it's people I work with. I mean, I choose to work with people in the program, which is just phenomenal when that happens. But everybody in my life is from the program. So the fellowship of that program is what's so beautiful too. And that is absolutely kept me sober because I can't be a secret. I can't go in there. Like I recently, had this major surgery because I broke my nose and then my dad passed away suddenly in September. And these the rooms absolutely saved me. And being transparent, just be like, oh my gosh, I had the worst year of my life. And I always told myself, if anything ever happened to my son or my dad, I will absolutely use. But I can honestly say, my dad passed away September 27th. And the last thing on my mind was using.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you almost look at it because I look at alcohol as you ruined my life. Like, get the heck out of my life. I do not want you in my life. Just like all of any kind of abusive relationship I was ever in. I'm like, don't you ever even try to talk, call, or text me. Not today, Satan.
Yeah. Did you ever write a goodbye letter to alcohol? Have you ever heard of
I probably did in rehab.
Yeah.
But I can tell you it was in jail, even before I even started going to meetings, is where I was like, F you, alcohol. I'm out. See ya. I never want to speak to you again. And then I started, like, there were little things here and there, suggestions from people who had been sober, like, okay, those yuck stickers that you put on poison bottles in the cupboard? Yeah, put the yuck sticker every time you see a bottle of booze. Just imagine there's a yuck sticker on it. And so, like, I'd even go into, like, this is much, much later, but I kind of tested myself, and I went into like the timeout or something. I can't remember, but I went in to go watch the Seahawks game with all my friends who I knew were going to be drinking. But I walked in and all the bottles were sitting there behind the bar. And I was like, yuck, 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 yuck. They're all lined up, And then I was like, okay, I ordered what I would have usually ordered was a double vodka soda with lime.
Okay.
So I ordered a soda with lime, keep the poison out of it. That's what the exact way I ordered it. I was like, I don't want that in my drink. Give me a soda water with lime and I'm good. Put it in a tall glass.
I love that. I love that. And so amazing for you, since alcohol was your thing, like how inspiring, like to be able to quit that. You're surrounded by it. I mean, I'm not surrounded by heroin and meth. Like you are surrounded by alcohol. It's glamorized. It's in your face every day. Like you are so strong.
At the grocery store now. I mean, when I was, I remember when they started putting in the grocery store and I'm like, I can't even go to the freaking bread aisle without walking past the wine.
Oh, I know. Like that's so powerful. And you've been sober for 10 years?
13 and a half. Yeah. 2012 was when I got, but I was 30. I spent my 36th birthday in jail. So yeah. So
yeah, I was probably in jail at 36 too. I didn't get sober till 37. It was
around the same age though. Yeah. It's so amazing. Did you have anybody in your life that you were like, okay, I want that life. Tell me what you did. Tell me what to do. Did you have mentors and sponsors and things like that sort of helped shape you?
I did. I did, and I do. And I have sponsorship still. That's one thing I've never gone without. But probably one of the most influential people in my life is my best friend Woody. His name is Woody, and well, his name's Brian, but he goes by Woody. And his ex-wife was my sponsor initially, and unfortunately, she ended up relapsing, and they are no longer married. But he saw me in the worst. And oh my gosh, he's going to be mad at me because I don't remember this. I think he has 28 years sober, but he saw me at my absolute worst. He met me when I was trying to keep it together, and he has guided me the whole entire way. And he has really showed me how to do this deal and how to show up for people. And I mean, I would lie to him. I would use in his house. I would just fill in the blank. Like, he just never gave up on me. And he's just like, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. And I see the beautiful life that he had and how well respected he is and how well loved he is. And that is exactly what I wanted. And I am so proud to say that he is still my best friend, besides my fiance, Mitchell, who of course is my everything. But Woody is so important to Mitchell and I both. We're getting married in September, and we asked Woody to be our officiant. So he's going to marry us because we're fighting over it. He's like, well, I want Woody on my side because he knew Woody before me. And I'm like, no, I want Woody to be one of my bridesmaids. And he's like, that's not how it works. Because we love him so much. And so if I had to pick one person that has made the most difference in my life, it is absolutely him.
That's awesome.
Absolutely him.
Yeah. For me, her name is Melanie Vargas, and I'll never forget. I know her. Isn't she amazing? I see
her on Tuesdays. I'll see her tonight, probably.
Oh, give her a hug and a kiss from me. I've kind of been in contact with her because she's starting a podcast herself. And so, but I'll never forget. I just thought, well, she was the most beautiful person in the room, right? I was like, she's beautiful. She's successful. When she speaks, it's so eloquent. And I just was like, and then I knew she was married to and had this great family and had this beautiful house. She has the life I want. And I just looked up to her so much. And every time she would speak, she was so kind and thoughtful and funny. Like, I thought I was hilarious too. So like, okay, she's got the life I want. Tell me what to do, and she walked me through the steps too. And she, to this day, she was very supportive of me when I when I was 1 year sober, I met someone who I ended up marrying, but it was a very short-lived relationship. We met, married, and divorced all within 1 year. I was like, oops. Sorry, I made a mistake.
Redo.
Yeah. Back up. I wish. But she threw a bridal shower for me, or one of those, an engagement party. And she was so kind. Even to this day, it makes me feel embarrassed that, like, I wish I just would have made a better choice, because she had been giving me all the tools. And even though I made this, and little did she know, because this guy was very good at manipulating too. And maybe she saw some signs, but she didn't really say anything. She just let me do what I needed to do. Yep. Yeah, but she was always there for me. She's still to this day. This day. She's amazing. 13 and a half years. But she's been sober a lot longer than that. She got sober in her early 20s, and anyway.
I do have sponsors. I have two that I work with. Well, I had a sponsor for a long time, and she ended up moving to Oregon. And I love her to pieces, and she's exactly what I needed when I needed it. And then I recently got a local sponsor who is just as psycho as me, and it's just a great fit. And I just love her so much. Yeah, we're just crazy. She just celebrated 18 years.
You know your people.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what works.
Yeah.
And
I work
if
with other women.
You need somebody to hold you accountable, like, do it. Totally. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do whatever it takes. Yeah. I had a friend, her name's Andrea, and she passed away from alcoholism. And I just remember her asking me one day, how do you stay sober? And I'm like, Andrea, are you ready? And she said, yeah, I'm ready. What do I do? And I'm like, you have to be willing to do whatever I tell you. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I'll do it. And I'm like, you need to go to AA meetings. You just need to start going. And she's like, no, I'm not willing to do that. I'm like, not ready. And I said, I'd go with you. Let's go together and this and that. And I don't think she was ready. And it was hard because I know she tried to get sober several times by herself, but it was that one time that she tried to detox on her own and she had a heart attack. Yeah.
It's lethal. Yeah. People don't realize like the dangers of that too, the detoxing. And God, thank God, I never want to go back to day one again. That was absolutely horrendous.
Never. And do you still get those feelings of like, oh, it's such a weird, it's almost like, no, but you get these weird feelings like, oh, I kind of want to try it. See?
Yeah, like they have White Claws now. I'm like, I never tasted a White Claw. Like, what does that taste like? Or like, or I'll drive by somewhere and, I own a men's to East King in Snohomish County because I probably got high in every single parking lot in the counties. So I drive by because I was, if I wasn't in the bathroom getting high, I was in the car getting high, which is really safe because then I would drive. But I'll drive by and I'll be like, oh, I remember there. And I'm like, oh, gosh, that was cool. And then I have to be like, oh, fast forward.
No. Like, what the hell is
dream? I have using dreams. I've actually had a couple using dreams lately. So I'll have to look into that further. I don't know what that's trying to tell me, but I am still sober. So I love it when I wake up. It's just a
reminder because then you wake up and you go, oh, thank God that was just a dream.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so this is so good. And is there anything else about this part of your story that you would want people to know before we kind of get to what's the greatest lesson you've learned?
Oh gosh, no. I mean, not like it just was such a dark place. And thank God for the Salvation Army and the people that went before me to show me the way. But I can say that if you are struggling and or don't know where to go, just speak to one person. Just let one person know. Talk to one person. It's me, if it's Deanna, if it's whoever, our information is public. It is out there because we are not a secret. And just know that there's hope and there's help for you.
Yep. And there's an AA meeting literally everywhere you go.
Yeah.
I have been in Hawaii and went to a meeting on the beach. I've been to
they're everywhere.
Everywhere, every country, everywhere. And even if you can't get to a meeting, there's meetings online. And
Zoom meetings everywhere. Yeah. There's just
Yeah. You know what I found out too? It was the first time I went on vacation. I can't remember exactly how many. I think I was a year and a half. No, it was less than a year sober. I was still in my first year of sobriety, and I was in a wedding for a friend who got married in Mexico. And there's the swim up bar. And I'm like, shit. So I swim up to the bar and I'm like, I'm ordering my non-alcoholic drink. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sober. And I'm thinking, this guy, and the guy behind the bar goes, oh, no way, me too. I'm going to make you the best virgin, whatever it was, the virgin mojito or virgin daiquiri or something it was that he made me. And I'm like, this is dang good. This is awesome. So I literally sat at that bar just talking to him about sobriety the whole time. Mm-hmm. And isn't it funny that your bartenders, most of the bartenders that you would even go into a place and tell them you're sober, and they got you, man. They got you. They're going to watch over
especially
you.
Now.
Make sure you don't drink. If you're not a secret, especially in places like that, people have your back.
Absolutely. It's amazing how much support you get when you are just honest about where you are.
That's the best part of this.
Yeah, people come out of the woodwork. Like, it's unbelievable. I went to a women's meeting the other day, and there was like 40 of us there, 35 of us there. And it was a special event at a gal's house. And I just am sitting there in her living room. And I just had this actual like spiritual experience as I'm sitting there of just filled with gratitude and love. Like, I'm in this room with 35 women who I genuinely love, and they love me back. Like, in my addiction, there was no friendships like that. And it's just like, my gosh, this is what it's about. And it's just such a beautiful feeling, and just not being a secret. That's my advice. Don't be a secret. You're not unique. Like, anybody and everybody knows somebody who's suffered from addiction of some sort, whether it's sex, drugs, gambling, shopping, whatever it is, all the same behaviors.
And when you can just admit it, even if it's just to one person, but especially when you can be public about it.
Yeah. So
You
freeing.
think that it's going to be so like you're just asking for all the shame to just pile
Yeah,
on you. And
right.
the complete opposite happens.
A total opposite. I say over and over again that this is an absolute superpower and that we are in an exclusive group, a very exclusive group. And we paid the price to become a member. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. Do you want to talk about how because you're so public about the things that you've done and some of the things that, that you're not proud of, and then getting into the real estate industry, becoming so successful in it? I mean, honestly, that must have been such a hard thing for you to just go, okay, here it is. I'm an open book. But I better be an
Yeah.
open book because I need you to trust me with the sale of your house.
It's a pretty beautiful story. So I have a dear, dear friend who actually is the one who got me into rehab. Her name's Melissa, and I love her. She's my earth angel. And she's the one who actually got me into detox this last time. Had never met her in my life. She just was somebody connected us and she helped facilitate. I was in treatment and she was sending me gifts and just cheering me on and this and that. A year later, I was sober and I was on the softball field and this girl runs up to me and she's like, I'm Melissa. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm still sober. So
Oh,
she's just amazing. So that was cool. So we physically met. So anyways, I'm working at the Salvation Army in their community center and I get a phone call from her and she's like, hey, so I know you have a criminal background and I know you have no experience in real estate, but my office has a position opening and, I think you'd be a good fit. And I'm like, I have residential burglary. She's like, oh, it's okay. Just come in and interview, and we'll work through it. And they know you're in recovery and just be honest and so on and so forth. So I come in for the interview and, it's for an entry level position or kind of, it's like a marketing position. And the interview goes great. The human resources calls me back the next day and they're like, the interview went great. We're just going to run a background check. Okay. And she's like, I'll give you a call back when we get the background check. And I'm like, so a couple days go
did
by.
you not say anything at that time?
She knew that
Oh,
I don't know if I disclosed it to her or if the manager I had interviewed with disclosed it to her that there were some felonies on there. So she calls me back a couple days later and she's like, so I got your background check back and I wanted to talk to you about a few things. And I'm like, yes. And that was my chance to say, I don't live my life like that anymore. At this point, I was like 2 years sober when I started working in real estate. And she's like, I'm like, I don't live my life like that before. And I'm just looking for someone to take a chance on me. And, I think this is a great opportunity. And, I believe in myself and I need you to believe in me. And she's like, thank you for your honesty and welcome to the team. And I'm like, wait, hold on a second. Like I used to rob houses and you want me at your brokerage. So this was a position where it was, so how I got into the real estate and I think Melissa, from the bottom of my heart, every time I see her, she's a huge part of my life and I love her so much. And she still is in the industry as well. But I started in a marketing admin position and then I moved into the office manager position and did that for several years. And while I was in the office manager position, Coldwell Banker Bain told me, you know what, if you want to expand your knowledge, like we're willing to pay for you to go to real estate school. So they paid for me to go to real estate school. At that time, it was a different ownership and the owner of the company had to sign off for me and sign off and have my back. Like, okay, she can do this. I go to school. I get my light. I pass my test. I passed my test on my first try. We can do hard things when we're sober. I'm
yes.
like, I suck at school, but
now, how many years sober were you when you did your testing?
3.5.
Okay, so you had been with the company for about a year and a half.
Per year. Where are we? Okay, so I was 97. So I was probably like 3.5 years sober.
You had been with the company in an admin position first. You were already, so I guess what I'm trying to get at, it wasn't like you got out, you're newly sober and now you're in real estate. You had really taken the steps and proven yourself and done the hard things, stayed sober for a pretty significant amount of time, but you were also built those little tiny baby steps were building trust, not just in other people, but also in yourself. So you knew you could do it.
Well, I knew I could do it, but let me tell you this. Once I got my license, once I passed the test, that's where the hard work started. Is because then I had to turn that into the state and I had to be reviewed by the state to get my license because of the criminal history. So I had to meet with the Department of Licensing face to face. They had to come investigate me. They needed records of my criminal history. I gave them 180 pages of criminal history, all my reports, like the Department of Licensing has everything. There was no secrets.
What was that like? What was that like?
absolutely terrifying. And looking back and
Here's
reading
all of my dirty
here's
laundry.
everything. Here's everything. Just trust me, I'm changed. I have changed. This is what I was like. I'm not like that. Just please take a chance on me. So it went through a really strict interview process through the state with their attorneys, with you name it. And it came back approved, and I had to be on probation for 2 years. So I was on supervised probation for 2 years with my real estate license. And at that time I was the office manager. As that probation period was going on, I was the office manager, so I wasn't practicing real estate yet. So I learned from everything, all my mentors, my Blairs, my Johns, my everybody. I learned from everybody in that time and just kept getting more and more knowledge. So then when that probationary period was up, I'm like, it's time. And that was 2 years ago.
Amazing.
2 years ago. Yeah, they were like, you're on supervision. You are not going in this house alone, sister. You need to show us. And then also at that time, the owner had to sign off on that. Like if I committed any crimes while I had my license, the owner of Coldwell Banker Bain signed for me and said that he would be responsible. Yeah.
Wow.
Tense.
So you're going to be a CB Bain employee or agent forever.
Yeah. So my loyalty,
you ain't going nowhere, sister.
So, and the fact that I, just, of course, this is all I know. And, but my loyalty is indebted here. And for me personally on this journey, I just know that this is where I belong. And, my mentors are here, and this is my home.
This is your home. Your people, your family, your tribe.
Right. Absolutely. So they all know it. My whole office knows my whole story. They know everything. There is no secrets. And it's comical at this office sometimes when they're picking on me. Let me tell you.
Well, they keep you honest.
They do. Oh yeah. They keep me honest. And I keep, we have a good time here.
No, it's good because you need those people. And here's the thing, like what Brene Brown said, you're not fully loved until you're fully known. And so when you're fully known and fully loved and you're with your people and, you get that weird, like, drug dream or whatever, it's like, no, I have my people to fall back on. Like I'm going to work today. I'm going in to do my thing, do my routine, do my this. And then when, you might have a client who goes, now, wait a second, I heard this or whatever. You've got everybody like, no, she's not like that anymore. And here's why. And, let me partner with you on this transaction so that the trust is fully there,
It's fun. It's actually funny because like if you look me up on Google, which is funny because I've done this before, and you've got real estate agent, but you've also got like mom overcomes heroin article or whatever, and a picture of me and my son and all this stuff. But which is I'm not ashamed of whatsoever. But it's it's out there. It is out there. I'm not a secret, and like I said, it's a superpower.
It is. And let me tell you something. There are a lot of homeowners out there that would rather work with someone who has been through what they've been through. I mean, just look at, oh my gosh, his name is escaping me, but he was also on America's Most Wanted. He's a very successful real estate agent up in Snohomish County now. And he has a whole crew of people that he has helped buy homes that have been through the same thing he has. Yeah. And it's like, that is amazing. Look at that.
Majority of my clients come from the recovery community, which is, And
I'm going to tell you, like the people who haven't told their story, maybe they've just kept it a secret. They know. They know because they've been through it. They just haven't told their story yet. And maybe they never will. And that's okay too. But when you share an experience with someone and you're willing to be vulnerable about it, it does open up opportunities for you and for the other people in your life to, just to live your best life. And owning a home is living your best life,
Yeah,
and so if I could recommend working with someone like Tracie, I can't recommend that even more than I mean, honestly, it's the people who don't tell you everything that you got to reach out for.
Right. Yeah, I know.
You don't know what's in that closet.
You never know. Yeah. Well, my closet's wide
open.
And, it's out there. Yeah.
Yeah. I got the spotlight on that closet right there.
Totally. Absolutely. I mean,
every corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. You're so inspiring. I just think it's amazing. I mean, even just the hoops you had to go through just to get to where you are now. Like I said, you're one of the top agents at Coldwell Banker Bain in Kirkland. Kirkland is one of the most coveted areas of the whole United States, even of the world, to live in. And you are a top agent there. Look at you.
You know what? It's my mentorship is pretty. Yeah.
I just think you're amazing.
Thank you. I love you so much.
I love you too. I love you too. I'm so grateful that you're willing to tell your story. And I think we got what advice you would give. But if you had a message for your life, like your life's message or something that you would want to communicate to people, maybe even your son, right? Some kind of what would you like to say to your son or to the world about your life and what your life lesson or message would be? What is that?
Don't be a secret. Like, really, don't. Just be your true, authentic self, because you're lovable. Like, you are love. You are lovable just the way you are, wherever you are at. So just be your true, authentic self. That is something that I absolutely live by now. And I wish I would have done that, if I could change anything in the past, which it all makes sense. I actually wouldn't change anything in the past, but be yourself. Don't hide. Don't hide behind the mask. You don't have to, because you're lovable exactly where you're at.
Yep. So basically,
basically
tell your story, right?
Yeah, tell your story. Be loud.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Tracie. I really appreciate you spending time with me today. I know you're a busy girl. I'll let you get back to work.
I just love you, and you inspire me. And what a great opportunity. And hopefully we just help one person, right? Or lots of people. Or lots of people. But,
I think it'll be more than one.
I hope so. And I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much.
I love you too. Say hi to Melanie for me tonight, okay?
Okay. I will. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. If today's story moved or inspired you, please take a moment to share this episode with someone who needs a spark of courage. Your 5-star rating and short review help these brave, courageous, and resolutely fearless stories reach even more hearts. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss an episode of Intrepid Storytelling. Thanks for listening.